The events talked about and recorded is all practiced by individuals spiritually trained and connected to the spirit realm. Action seen on this film should not be duplicated without the proper training and handling of equipment. Content features harsh language and mature content. Your discretion is advised.
What's up? I'm Philip McGuire, paranormal investigator, founder of Spirit Owl Productions, and the head of tech for Spirit Owl Productions.
What's up, everyone? I'm James Torkel III, and I am co-founder as well as pastor and investigator for Spirit Owl Productions.
Skog. Han vill men kan inte sova. Hungern river hans varga buk. Och det är kallt i hans
what we do is we investigate the paranormal, anything from the smallest level that would be you feeling like you're being watched, or that someone or something is in your house, to as high of there's scratch marks, you're being attacked, there's things moving from place to place that you don't know, doors opening or closing, you hear footsteps, moans, or even just someone whispering in your ear, anything like that.
Okay, so this portion of the video, we are starting off in the middle because due to a unknown technical error, the beginning portion of the footage, starting from when we made initial entry into the graveyard, was corrupted and completely lost. And then this portion right here is when we're actually moving more towards the top of the graveyard, and we capture this unusual EVP of what sounds to us like a grunt.
Yeah, it's a grunt of like, but it's not. It's too deep to be my voice or his voice. It's too different than how we would normally talk.
And upon further inspection of continuing this video, we enhanced the exposure as specified on this screen currently of the Native American totem, which my partner here can explain better.
So, a lot of the time, Native Americans, they carve totems. They carve totems of specific animals, like the thunderbird. The thunderbird's the great protector of the sky, from what I remember. Don't quote me on that. I'm not a fucking expert. Demonetization, by the way. But I'm not an expert on Native American lore. I'm from the Cherokee tribe myself, so I don't know a whole lot. The last time I've been to a reservation has been probably 10 years ago when I was 11 years old. But it was just this wooden totem with, it's a log and then it's the eagle, and that's it. And when we first walked up, my initial thought was, what's sitting here that looks carved like that? What is that? My partner here wouldn't go any farther, but I took the chance to go up because I have Native American blood running within me, so I figured I'd be safe.
Upon coming to that portion of the investigation, it actually felt like there was a huge barrier literally up, like it wasn't completely strong, like I wouldn't be able to pass forward, but at the same time it was just this heavy feeling. There was just this weight suddenly on my shoulders that I was getting a feeling like, oh, I shouldn't continue, but as my partner said, he was able to proceed and actually make contact.
So with things like this, a lot of the time, if it's an ancient spirit like that, and it doesn't know most of the time spirits like that know if you're of that descent or not. So my partner here, co-founder, if I was to go to Hawaii where he's originally from, there's spirits and things that I would not even dare to mess with. I wouldn't try. I'd just be respectful about it and move on, which is the same thing that he did in this video. He stopped where basically the spirit itself was saying, don't come any further, you're not welcome here, whereas I didn't have that feeling at all. It was almost beckoning me to come closer to it to see what it is.
Now, as you notice in the video, you might be seeing movement around the tree trunks and behind the totem itself, which is not very clearly seen, but it's literally about 10-15 feet away from the actual trees themselves. Well, right behind you, there's a full-blown friggin' shadow, so...
Yeah. So during this, where you see him taking a picture and him saying that there's a shadow behind me, I could feel the shadow, and it was the same entity that was attached to the graveyard, specifically to that totem that we had mentioned. Something else that I hadn't said was the only other mention or picture or video of that totem, there is only one that our production manager happened to actually pull up. She had only found one image of that totem everywhere. She looked for hours, could not find anything else. The only one she had found was just some older picture, probably taken
years ago,
yeah. But that is the only other picture that between us two and our production manager, that's the only thing we could find, was that one photo plus what we have. You're a Native American spirit. We mean no disrespect, especially me coming from Native American blood myself. There it goes.
Alright. When it comes down to it, it's important to be extremely respectful of the other world, especially when you're crossing into their territory. Because if you're looking at, say, a house, you can take it easy and say that they're invading your space, but we're investigating a graveyard, and therefore we're visiting their property.
That's probably the big shadow you've seen in that video.
Yeah. That explains a lot, actually.
Which is exactly why I chose to go up, because it was...
No, the minute I saw that, I wanted nothing to... No.
Yeah. It was basically just telling me, like, hey, this is my area. I don't like visitors. So I got it closer.
Cool.
That calms him down most of the time.
That was a hand.
Where?
See that tree?
Yeah.
No, just saw no hand wrap around that tree and then back off.
The shadow seems to be interested.
Whose?
The fucking...
Oh, the one we just left?
Yeah.
Oh. Like I said, probably just confused as hell to why we're so respectful as opposed to the other visitors who just...
trash the place.
Yeah.
Walk all over the graves.
And there's the kids.
Yep.
Did you hear that laugh?
Mm-hmm. And the little footsteps. I make sure I still have my camera. I didn't feel it. I was like, what the fuck? You stealing my shit now?
I think we got a good amount. What do you?
Yeah, these tree trunks are graves too. There's bodies buried under the tree trunks.
I'm sure those of you watching are very familiar with Ouija boards and other spiritual games in general. And like the game always says, you need to say goodbye. As a rule of thumb, whenever we participate in the investigations or even cleansing of areas, we always do a ritualistic goodbye of, even if it's just saying goodbye to the entities that are within the area and then those who assisted us as a sign of respect, and we mean no harm, please do not bring harm unto us.
Yeah. So this is the end of it. We're going to cover a couple of things that we either didn't have on video or some things that we just wanted to cover. Basically give a what we like to call a riveting recap. So
basically, as we began this journey, we started from a little motel in Vista, and then we went all the way through the canyon sides in order to get to Julian Pioneer Cemetery. Upon further investigation of the footage and remembering the journey, we observed that there were in fact 3 horned owls which appeared at various locations of the road, which was on our way to Julian Pioneer Cemetery. However, at the end of the investigation, our return journey was once again influenced by 3 owls. We also happened to pass them at the same intervals of the road as we were driving back, which for Hawaiians and even Native Americans, they are viewed as creatures of guidance and knowledge.
yeah, it was something that normally you'd see owls, just like you'd drive down the road, you'd see a deer out in the field, like you'd be like, oh, okay, yeah. It's nighttime. Owls are night hunters, right? That's something they do. But seeing them at the 3 exact same intersections that we seen them on the way to there, we were there for a little bit over an hour, maybe an hour and a half or so. There's no way that owls don't usually stay in one spot for that long. They're hunters, they're hunting, they have excellent night vision. They can see the smallest little rat crawling across the ground, around a tree and through a bush. They'll see it, they'll immediately go after it. So it's really hard to believe that an owl is just going to sit in the exact same spot for an hour and a half waiting for me to drive back by. And they didn't fly off either. That was the thing. They didn't fly off. They stayed pretty much in the same area. We had one on the way in that flew across the car from the left side of the road to the right side, driver's side to passenger. And then on the way out, he flew from the right side to the left side of the car. Like he just flown across the road.
Like it was waiting for us.
And it's an odd occurrence. Owls don't do that. Owls travel pretty far at night. That's what they do. They hunt. They take it back to the little owlets, whatever you call them, baby owls. But that's something that we thought was really odd. So, yeah.
Anything else?
And the final thing is, everyone knows the story of the woman in white. I know Hispanic culture calls it La Llorona. That was something that is just common sense. Like if I'm out driving somewhere at night and I happen to be in some rural area, like I'm in the woods, I'm driving past a river or something like that. Common sense dictates if I see somebody out on the side of the road, I'm gonna stop, and be like, hey, are you okay? But I happen to see some woman next to a river, or like on the road, like on the shoulder of the road. I knew we were driving next to the river. I could see the river on my right side. So I was like, okay, there's a river here. We're basically just following the river up, and then it branches off and goes far off some other way. And I see like what looks like some woman in white, long brown hair, like a white like nightgown or dress or something like that. And I got this bad vibe. And I mean, when it comes to me and getting bad vibes, that's usually not good. That's a warning. Like, don't do anything. When we encounter things like that, if we're in the car, It's if the windows are rolled down, they get immediately rolled up. I lock the windows. Doors always remain locked because I'm driving, so usually I don't have to worry about the doors being unlocked. But we kept driving. I seen that. I mentioned it to him. He didn't see it.
I didn't see it, but I sure as hell felt it.
Right. And
the woman in white is known for gathering power via the amount of bodies she's able to stack, and thus meaning that she's murdered. And those of you familiar with the legend, you understand how she does it and where she's coming from. Those of you who don't, I do encourage you to actually look it up. Don't get caught off guard by this occurrence.
Right. And for those of you who don't, I'll give you a brief, like, what the legend is. So she was a mother, had 3 kids. I can't remember exactly what caused her to do it, but something happened, and her 3 kids drowned in the river. So she killed herself in the same river that her kids drowned in. I think they were playing in the river. They drowned. She murdered herself by the river. And what she does is she goes after kids by the river. She goes after people. She especially does not like males. She does not like males whatsoever. So if you happen to be driving by a river or something like that on the side, and you notice there's a woman standing on the side of the road in white with long, dark brown hair, don't stop. Don't roll down your windows. If your car dies for whatever reason, keep your doors locked. Don't look around. Don't look in your rearview mirror. Do not look in your back seat. Just ignore it. Whether you hear tapping on the glass or someone saying, "Hey, can you help me?" Whatever. Don't do it. Don't get out of your car. Don't open your windows. Don't open your door. Don't do it.
Don't even acknowledge it.
Yeah, just pretend it doesn't exist. So that's pretty much it for the video, because that's all we've got for now. But we will see you guys on the next episode.